Hello. Okay, so we are going to do some examples from that 4.1 area of a rectangle and a triangle quiz in here. And I'm going to do it on my dot cam. This is so exciting. All right. So let's go ahead and talk about that first question. So this is number one. We're going to do number one together. That's a terrible number one. Here we go. All right, so it says that we are going to go ahead and put carpet tiles, don't really know what that is, but carpet tiles, in this living room. And then we have this cute little den. So this is the living room. And then this is the den. Okay, so it tells me that my living room is 7 feet here and 6 feet here. And then my den is 8 and 3. So in order for us to go ahead and carpet these two rooms, I need to figure out this area of this entire square. So if you remember, area is your length times your width, or one side times the other. So let's just find the one for the living room. So I am just going to take that 7 and that 6. It doesn't matter which one's the length or which one's the width. We can just solve it. So area is 7 times 6. And so area is 42. So I would need 42 square feet of tiles to do the living room. All right, so that is that kind of thing. So it will ask you in number one, well, how much will you need for the living room? Then in question two, it asks you, okay, well, how much will you need for the den? And so you'll calculate that using the same formula. And then in question three, it says, well, great, now that you know the living room and the den, how much will it be together? So that's how questions like 1 through 3 go. Question four is pretty similar. All right, so now we're going to switch it up a little bit. I'm going to go into question 6, and then I'm going to go back to 5, just so you know. I know it sounds weird, but it makes sense. All right, so I'm going to show you number 6. So in number 6, it is asking for the area of this particular triangle. Now, I'm not going to do this exact example here. I'm going to give you an idea, but in this example, it's not going to tell you how tall it is. You actually have to count the squares that it is. So on that coordinate plane, you'll see it's like a gridded thing. You'll see like how tall it is. So if you were to go like this, like if this were my coordinates, this one's not going to be as pretty because it's not pretty and straight. If I were to count my coordinates, I would count, oh, this is 1, 2, 3, 4 squares tall, and this one is 1, 2, 3 squares. That would be my base. So that's how you'll count the sides. Okay, we're going to switch it up. So let's come over here. So the area of it, actually, isn't this fun? Don't just go with me. So the area of a triangle, whatever it happens to be, is the same exact formula as a rectangle, which is that length times width, except for one piece of information. It's cut in half. It's like a picture like a sandwich, So we're going to go ahead and do a sandwich. So the area of a triangle is that length times width, or they call it base times height. Base is the bottom. And then how I think of height, because you're like, well, which line do we do? When you were asked to go to the doctor, and you're like, and they're asking you to check your height, you're not going to stand at an angle. You're going to stand straight up and down. So whatever number is straight up and down, that's your height. And then base is the bottom. All right, so it is base times height, but once again, I told you it's cut in half. So if we just did base times height, that would technically be this like whole circle or whole rectangle, but I just want half of it. So let's just say our height was, I don't know, 5, doesn't matter. And our base is 3. In order to find the area of a triangle, our area would be our base, which is 3, times our height, which is 5, divided by 2. So my area would be 3 times 5 is 8 divided by 2. And finally, last step is 8 divided by 2, which is 4. So you would just use that formula to find it. Now, I told you I was going to go back to number 5 because I think number 5 might be the hardest one in this example in all of these questions. So I'm going to help you out a little bit with that one. So it gives us this beautiful triangle and it says this is 2 times x and this is x. It says, compute the area of the triangle if x equals 3 less than 6. It says we need to do the area, but I don't know these sides, but it says that x equals 3 less than 6. So 3 less than 6 is 3. So x is 3. So over here, because this is 2 times x, this is technically 2 times 3. And so this whole side is 6. And then here, because I know what x is, I can just do this whole side as 3. It says that x equals 3. You just had to, the little extra step where you just had to plug it in here. And now this will help you use that formula. So you can just completely ignore all of this and you're almost looking at a triangle that is a 6 and 3. And then you'll just plug it into your formula. And then I think, all right, so then the ones where I'm giving you the area and you're missing the triangle. So like, let me do number, I got time. Let me do number 7. All right, so in number 7, it gave you this triangle and it says your base is 6 and it says the area of the triangle is 36. So my area equals 36. What is the height? Okay, so let's think about that formula for a triangle. Well, I know that it's area equals base times height divided by 2. So I know a couple things, okay? I know my area, oops, sorry, which is 36 equals, my base is 6, but what I do not know is my height. Ignore all this, sorry. So I knew my area. It told me my area is 36. It says my base. So if you think we're trying to work backwards, we're trying to solve for h here, and I told you when you find the area of a triangle, at the end you're going to cut it in half. So if we're working backwards, we're going to do the opposite of cutting it in half. We've got to double it. So in order to get rid of this divided by 2, in order to get rid of this guy, I need to multiply by 2 on both sides of the equation. All right, so these, we do 36 times 2, which is 72. And then these end up canceling. And then I'm left with 6 times h. So these end up canceling. So now you just have to ask yourself, okay, so 6 times a magic number, or my height, is 72. Okay, well, how would I, if I'm working backwards, I would need to undo this multiplication. So my inverse operation here is to divide. I want that number gone. So I can have my h all to itself. So these would end up canceling. And then you'll just do 72 divided by 6, which I'm pretty sure is 12. See? Not that bad. You just need to plug it into the formula. It's the same thing though. So once you plug in what you've got, double it, and then you're just left with this normal one-step equation. You just have, this is the only like extra step, is that you have to get rid of that division. So I hope this video was helpful. It's the same process for everything. You're just going to have to use your formulas. In the last question, the only thing I have to tell you in that last question, it looks like this. And that says this is 19, and then this is 6. I know it doesn't give you this side over here, but if these lines, if those little markings, they mean that this side is also 19. Okay, which means that my height for my triangle here is 19 as well. So there's, at least you have 2 sides for each one. I hope this video was helpful, and I'm going to go ahead and send it to you now.